Hi, somebody recently asked me what what steps might be needed in a Twitter campaign. So I wanted to, starting from scratch even. So I wanted to respond to that. And I think one of the benefits I like with Twitter is that you can find and follow subject experts. Critically, importantly, it's important to try and engage in dialogue. Not every subject expert will engage. Some only use Twitter as a broadcasting mouthpiece. But there are some people who do engage. And typically, I find those are the interesting people to talk to, especially if they're a subject expert. So, if there's a subject you're interested in and you want to find out more yourself, or maybe hitch your wagon behind that particular subject, it's entirely possible to do that via Twitter. Or when you're engaging in dialogue, it's important to show your ability, not your intellect. A friend of mine based in New York says he meets a lot of people who want to be the smartest little boy in the room. And we should be beyond the point of competing. We're getting to the stage where we need to understand better how to collaborate. So it's not about competing with classmates, it's actually about working with colleagues. And the bottom line really is, can we get in touch with our humility rather than our arrogance? Slight aside, but important in terms of online dialogue. So the other thing with Twitter is you can construct Twitter lists. So once you find people you like, you can add them to a list. If there are other people like those people, you can add them to a list. And you can have lots of different lists. I've got really far too many, but that's a different issue. So having identified people on Twitter and spoken to them and, if you like, catalogued them, you can then use a tool called paper.li. And what that will do is it will take your subject experts and Twitter lists and say to you, it will post automatically on a daily basis from your network subjects of relevance. Now you do need to give it a search term, so you will need to think what is it that I'm looking for here particularly, and then it will try and find posts that are relative to that search term. So now some folk may say that effectively setting up a bot can be a little generic, but I suggest that it does help people who want to follow us to get an idea of who we are, and that's good in general. It's not going to turn us into world-class people, but hey, very few of us are going to be world-class people anyway. What we want is to give people a good enough idea about who we are and what we're trying to do. The other thing that people may say is that you have to have a huge Twitter following. I'm very much of the opposite view. I think we need to build audiences organically based on quality and not quantity. So I don't have a huge Twitter following, but the people that I have that I do follow are hand-picked, hand-chosen, and I hope the people who follow me have chosen me on the same basis. Going back to the sort of organic quality-based audiences, I think faking it is entirely risky. Lots of people may say, oh yes, I'm an expert on such and such. The problem is that every field is relative. I might be considered to be an expert on Twitter, but I know there are people who are way better than I am. So, I would always say to people that my, whatever I'm offering is pretty much introductory. Make a start, immerse yourself in whatever it is, and do your own learning, because you will find out the different characteristics of particular tools and particular communities. I think in general what I would say is that it takes time to build an audience. It takes time to build a product. There aren't really any shortcuts. Again, I'm not particularly a fan of the school that talks about fake it until you make it. Okay, so I should also mention that paid Twitter options are of course available, in addition to organic growth, which we get from immersive trial and error to some extent. That sounds scary to some, but failing is not a problem. Sorry about that. Failing is not. Oh, there you go. There's a failure. Failure is not a problem. It's okay. It's a learning experience. What do we do different next time? So, what I will say about paid Twitter options is get yourself an experienced, trusted, proven marketer who will share with you client references, and you can talk to the client ideally, to construct your message and to target key audiences. Because otherwise, the money that you spend on a Twitter campaign will not be well spent. Just to sum that up in a way, Twitter is for life, not just for Christmas. There are no such things as instant answers in life. Generally, the work that we put in is comparable to the rewards that we get out at the end, and they're not necessarily financial rewards. Sometimes it can be joy of a subject. It can be, amassing knowledge. There are different things we should be measuring, and not just financially. The point about not rushing into things and throwing money at it, immersive learning will help you understand better. Because it means that you learn key lessons along the way, and you don't miss those because you're in a tearing hurry. So taking time to learn thorough is a really good idea. So that's the end of this particular slot. We do have live Zoom sessions and WhatsApp groups, and what I will do is put up details about how to access those. Anyway, thank you very much.